You're listening to BBC London 94.9 Breakfast
with Penny Smith and Paul Ross.
It's 7:37, and as we've been hearing in the news all morning and discussing all morning, emergency talks between Eurozone leaders in Brussels aimed at resolving the Greek crisis have gone on through the night, but with no agreement as yet. Several officials have reportedly said there are still wide differences among the 19 leaders of the Eurozone countries on the terms of a third bailout. Joining us now is Andreas Ioannidis, who is a Labour councillor in Brunswick Park and is of Greek origin. Good morning, Andreas.
Good morning.
Do you think there is any prospect of an agreement any time soon?
They will have to have an agreement. The point is, at what cost? And they keep saying since yesterday that the most important currency, the trust, has been lost. But from who to whom the trust has been lost? And what about the public's trust? Apparently the hashtag on Twitter, this is a coup, it has been the number one at the global level.
When you say the trust of the people, do you mean the Greek people?
No, the whole Europeans. We see British, German, Spanish, who they are fed up with the way the EU technocrats, they are dealing with regards to this crisis. People, they start realizing that idea that my state is immune against your state's crisis is not on. And therefore, automatically they feel, if they could treat Greek people like this, or in a way some people they have described like the Rodriguez of Europe, they could be the next.
Well, I suppose the point is that Greece has benefited from being in the euro, and the problem is doesn't seem to have had to do the tightening of the belt as other countries have, and at some stage this debt does have to be paid back. The money was given in good faith and has not been paid back.
You're absolutely right that in the past that has been happening. But you missed the point that since 2010, Greece has implemented the Europeans as such plan in order to have changes. And since 2010, they keep taking money in order to follow and forced to follow a specific pattern of economic changes. And it has failed. And none of the European technocrat, Merkel has been the leader of that plan since 2010. The German economic minister has been in charge of this plan since 2010, but none of them wants to accept any of that responsibility. Instead, the whole blame is based on people who they are retired over 65, people who they work in the public sector, who, yes, before 2010, they may used to take good money, but for the last 5 years, they have not. And how can you say to the young person, 18 years old, who is 13 years old, has been seeing that crisis, and tell him, no, 50% unemployment, that's not a problem. Not ability to get a job, that's not a problem. But that 18 years old, why should be paid that hard price?
And what are your family and friends back in Greece telling you, Andreas?
They are very disappointing. They are very upset. They don't even believe what's going on. It's true they feel like there has happened, a big disaster. It's almost like an earthquake. The whole idea who they belong, what they are, what securities they have around them in political and social structure has fell through. And nobody is there to support them. Of course, I'm very pleased to hear that tourists, they keep trusting Greece. But is that enough? Again, we see the individual public goodwill to want to help another human life in order to get a job, in order to survive. But what about the politician? What about the establishment? Those who are supposed to be there, those who, all of us, we vote for them. I'm sure probably you remember David Cameron and the European leader and the argument for, against, whether to vote and whether not to vote for the specific candidate of a political part, of a European political party that they were putting forward. And of course, even Britain agreed to that specific person, Schäuble. But still, that person does not rule as a European. He rules as a specific win for my voters. And this is where Europe has failed.
So do you think we need some kind of European-wide referendum on this, Andreas, and what you're saying? Because it would seem to me, while people often quote to us, people of Greek origin or Greek people we speak to over there in Greece, they say, oh, well, we voted against austerity measures. Lots of other countries, 18 other countries, may be in favour of them for Greece. They may feel fed up bailing out Greece. So do you think we need to look at this as a European-wide issue?
is not that simple because it is within a human nature to try to keep everything in your pocket and not to be interested of others people suffering. We hear that argument through global.
Okay, so now is the time then to go back to the drawing board and maybe show some compassion. Thank you very much for joining us. Andreas Ioannidis, their Labour councillor in Brunswick Park, and as we've heard, of course, of Greek origin himself, talking very passionately about the ongoing crisis in Greece and in Europe.